Once again, we come back to FreeFire's anniversary. Now, every year, if you've been with the game for a while, you might know this, but every year we get a different special event in Battle Royale, and it sometimes comes to Clash Squad, but mostly just to Battle Royale. And this year's is Mini Peak. Now, you might notice if you're a long-time player that the original peak has been gone for a while. Last update, we had a new peak, and overall, it's a very good change, making it a lot more fair because old peak was just a couple of buildings spread out around a field, and it was a literal death trap in end games. But this new peak, you're able to hide in the building, which gives you more cover and better fights, but also it's just a huge mansion, and so that's also kind of cool. But Free Fire is bringing back the old peak, and you might have seen this picture when loading into this update. And there's two big things in this picture that make people excited. First of all, you see a huge island and Peak's old buildings on it, which kind of makes you think that we're going to have a huge sky island with the old Peak hovering above the new Peak, which would have been sick. And then for the people that have been playing since the beginning of the game, you'll notice gliders. Yes, gliders. The thing that we lost so long ago that everyone loves. Well, I love them, and they're amazing. But once you load into the actual update, you'll be mildly disappointed on both of them that mini peak, they took that literally. It's not just a quote unquote mini peak where you're on top of an island and so it's like, it's smaller, so mini peak. No, it's actually a shrunken down version of peak, which is still pretty cool. But the only way that you're able to get into mini peak in Battle Royale is going through one of these portals. Now, they unlock after a couple of minutes in the round, but then every round there are a few portals that unlock instantly that you're able to go to. So this is kind of the drop strategy for this update, is just go for the portals, because you're able to get, after you use the M1887 to eliminate some people and or break some boxes, you get points, and then after your allotted time in mini peak, then you go to the Hall of Honor where you're able to get nostalgic weapons, using that with quotations. They're kind of buffed versions of the weapons that we have now, but they kind of, I'm pretty sure they do exactly the damage they used to do, which is kind of fun. But this means that with just eliminating like two or three people, you're able to get a Gruza. And then if you get a couple more eliminations, you have enough to get an M1887. And so you can get a crazy good loadout within 30 seconds of being on the island. So it's definitely the drop strategy, and you'll see many people trying to go for them. So get there as fast as you can. And then also, you might notice that you can't pick up nostalgic weapons after you go back. If you kill someone that has nostalgic weapons, and I can't remember if it's only if you went to the island and you killed them or if it's overall, but it will just show in their loot box that they had nothing, even though you definitely heard them shooting an MP40 at you. And so just remember that just because you see someone shooting that thing doesn't mean that you're getting that nostalgic weapon. Also, with the nostalgic weapons, they have a special gun skin that you can't change to show that it's a nostalgic weapon. It shows the Free Fire 7th anniversary sign on it with a all matte black design. It looks pretty sick, and also it's kind of nice to be able to remember, oh yeah, that's not just my regular one. Now, I was talking to you guys about sometimes these special events come to Clash Squad, and this year is one of those. I mean, Clash Squad is growing in popularity. Even though Battle Royale is still the original game mode, Clash Squad is definitely a pretty big one for them. And so, of course, they would put Mini Peak in Clash Squad. And so, in Mini Peak in Clash Squad, it just randomly happens sometimes during your game where it does the little portal swoosh thing and you're in Mini Peak for this Clash Squad round. And you'll notice all the buildings are smaller, but then also it has pre-placed glue walls all around, which is kind of a nice thing since the buildings give minimum protection and the fences just protect your toes. But you'll notice in front of you, you don't have to buy any weapons, because for free, you can have the nostalgic weapons. And these are so good. Grab them, even if you have an M1887 and Gruza already in your inventory because you bought it. I'd recommend getting the nostalgic versions. And then if your team wins this round, I mean, you get to keep the nostalgic weapons for as long as you stay alive. And so it's quite a good deal to go through Mini Peak. Now, of course, there isn't as much to this as in Battle Royale, because in Battle Royale, you're able to eliminate people and break the boxes and get points and get weapons and then go back to the real world. In Clash Squad, you're just fighting in Mini Peak with some nostalgic weapons. So that's kind of it for that. Also, the last thing in the 7th anniversary for Free Fire stuff, you'll notice that there are always usually little events going on in the home screen for Free Fire, and this time it's you going through and unlocking different stages and seeing stuff about your history playing Free Fire, like how long you've been playing, who you've played with the most, what weapon you used the most. So, quite a lot of fun.